Anti-Semitism and anti-Zionism are the same, but not really. In the last years, ever since the renewal of bombing of Israel by Hamas and strikes by the IDF into Gaza, the debate over the terms anti-Zionism and anti-Semitism has been renewed. More importantly, the claim that they mean the same thing, and holding one position makes you hold the other. To answer this question, we must first define what both of these terms mean. Firstly, Webster Dictionary defines anti-Semitism as hostility towards or discrimination against Jews as a religious, ethnic, or racial group. Anti-Zionism is defined as being against the establishment of the State of Israel and against the movement of Zionism. As a brief history of the term, Zionism finds its linguistic origins in the Temple Mount of Zion in Jerusalem. Zionism's main goal is the re-establishment of a Jewish state. Zionism finds its roots in the early 19th century, similar to many other nationalist movements, but in contrast, early Zionism is mainly based around the religion of Judaism and less around the Jews as a race. This religious aspect was until the Second World War the main reason, even though the vast majority of Jews rejected this idea and saw it as blasphemous, as no man, only God, could establish a Jewish state. This position became irrelevant with the beginning of ever more anti-Semitic waves starting around 1900 and later finding its climax in the years of 1933 till 1945 with Nazi takeover of Germany and following atrocities of the Holocaust. This also resulted in a new creation of myths around Israel, mostly replacing the religious reasons, as now Israel would be a safe haven for Jews. This would also hinder another possible Holocaust from happening. This transfer of Israel into Jewish hands, as you might put it, was partially seen as a form of reparations for what had happened to the Jews in Europe. Now that we have broadly defined these two terms, we can look into the connections and if they actually mean the same thing in practice. In practice, every anti-Semitism is anti-Zionism, as it essentially never differentiates between Jews based on their place of origin, seeing them as one homogeneous group. In contrast, the connection of anti-Zionism to anti-Semitism is much more tenuous, as there are multiple Jewish groups that reject Zionism. This automatically rejects the idea that all anti-Zionism is inherently anti-Semitic. There are two main groups which fit this description. For one, the position of being against the State of Israel has become more and more popular among the secular Jews in mostly America or the West. This has come mainly as a result of the many controversies of Israel. Some claim it is an apartheid colonizer state which has been actively genociding Arabs. Israel is frequently compared to Nazi Germany in this context. One of the biggest supporters of this movement has been American-born Jew Norman Finkelstein, which is now most well known for his book, The Holocaust Industry, in which he outlines how reportedly Jews have been using the Holocaust as a bargaining tool to guarantee Western support for Israel. The second kind of Jewish anti-Zionism is that by many ultra-religious Jews, which, as previously mentioned, oppose Israel as they think only God can establish Israel. This doesn't mean they oppose the idea of the State of Israel, but Zionism. Anti-Zionism can be objectively anti-Semitic. If all Jews are made responsible for the crimes of Israel, this has often been the case in crimes against European Jews. Anti-Zionism is also anti-Semitic if it's connected to other Jewish conspiracy theories. Another connection between these two terms is anti-Semitism as a result of anti-Zionism. This is seen in years following the independence of Israel, where as the anger of a brother state being conquered by the Jews and Israelites fueled the flames of many Arabs in the Arab world, which further sparked pogroms against Jewish communities. This led to mass migration to Israel by Mizrahi Jews.
Once upon a time, the Middle East was full of Jews. Algeria had 140,000 Jews. Algeria, where are your Jews? Egypt used to have 75,000 Jews. Where are your Jews? Syria, you had tens of thousands of Jews. Where are your Jews? Iraq, you had over 135,000 Jews. Where are your Jews? Mr. President, why are we meeting today on an agenda item singling out only one state, the Jewish state, for targeting? Where is the apartheid? Today I have come to provide the answer to my question. Algeria, Iraq, Syria, Egypt, Lebanon, Yemen, Libya. Your Jews fled as refugees after suffering persecution and deadly pogroms like the Farhud of Baghdad in 1941.
This feud has arguably resulted in the most prominent kind of anti-Semitism, as depending which source you use, Muslims are among the biggest cause of anti-Semitic attacks. This was also backed up by the 2017 UPE report. Sadly, I didn't find any newer ones, in which Jews were asked, among many other questions, who their attackers were. 48% said that their attackers were Muslims. This has to be taken with a lot of salt, as you can't identify someone's religion by just looking at them, but it still gives you somewhat of an idea of which people would actually attack Jews. One thing you could also see in this is that there is a direct connection in practice between these two terms, as many anti-Israel protests turn out to be anti-Semitic rallies. Most notably, one rally in 2021 in Germany, where mostly Arabs and Middle Eastern people and Muslims ended up screaming Hamas, Hamas, Jews into the gas. The same connection can obviously be stated for the alt-right communities. This has often resulted in strong crossovers of these two groups, as the most radical in a lot of cases of the anti-Semitism crowd were also very prominent anti-Zionists. This, of course, doesn't mean that all anti-Zionists are anti-Semites. To sum it up, anti-Semitism is always anti-Zionist. Anti-Zionism isn't inherently anti-Semitic, because Jews can also be anti-Zionist, but it is when other Jews that don't live in Israel are made responsible for Israeli crimes, and if it's connected to other Jewish conspiracy theories. I hope this helped you out in understanding the terms.